Hey lovelies, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for stopping by again. And if this is your first time on the channel, you're definitely welcome. Do well to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so that you get to see more of my content. In this tutorial today, I'm going to show you how to make this really beautiful underbust corset dress. And without further ado, let's get started. So right here guys, this is the African print that we're going to use for this tutorial. And because of the multi-tiered gathers, I used almost all the 6 yards for this dress. And to get started, I'm going to get my patterned paper and we're going to be drafting the upper part, that is from the shoulder to the half length. So right here on the patterned paper, the first thing I'll do is just to go ahead and indicate the start line, which will also serve for the shoulder line, okay? And having done that, the next thing to do is to start indicating the vertical lines right from the bust point. I'm going to indicate that and, mark a straight line across that point like so, all right? And next, I will indicate the underbust line. And the underbust length is 14 in this case, so I'll just go ahead and indicate that there. And having done that, the next thing to do is to indicate the waistline. And shoulder to waist is actually 16, but I'll go ahead and add 1 inch to that to make it 17. You can actually go ahead and add 2 inches to your waistline, all right, because the waistline is actually low on the style inspiration, but I just added 1 inch to my waist length, all right, making 17. And I'll just go ahead and indicate that on the pattern paper like so. And so here is our bust point, and this other line is our underbust, and here is our waistline. And right now I'll come to the shoulder line and I'm going to indicate my shoulder divided by 2, and it is 7 in this case, and I'll just indicate that here. And I'm going to add half an inch for allowance, all right? And right from that point, I'm going to come down by 1 inch, all right? And from that point marked, I'm just going to go ahead and come down to my chest line. So here on the chest line, I will just mark a straight line across like so. And I'll just go ahead and connect the point together like so, right? So for the neckline, I used the width of 3.5 and the depth of 10 inches, though I later changed that. Just stay with me, I will show you what I did later on, all right? So here, I'll just go ahead and connect the point together. And from the neckline, I'll just go ahead and connect to this point like so. And right now, the next thing to do is to get our nipple to nipple, all right? Right from the bust point, I'll go ahead and mark the nipple to nipple, which is 4 inches in this case. And I'll just go ahead and transfer that 4 inches to the waistline also. Then I'll connect it together on a straight line. And I'll go ahead and take half an inch that on both sides of the line. Then I'm going to link it up to the bust point. Having done that, the next thing to do is to get the body measurement, all right? So I'll just place my tape measure on the chest line like so, and I'm going to get quarter of the bust circumference, and I'm going to indicate it here. And the next thing I'm going to do is to go ahead and add 1.5 inches allowance to that, all right? And the next thing to do is to come to the bust point, and whatever you have on the chest line, you're going to put on the bust point also, all right? And up next, I'm going to skip the underbust and come to the waistline here and indicate quarter of the waist circumference. Then I'm going to add the allowance for that and also seam allowance of 1.5 inches. And next, I'll just go ahead and connect the points together. So here guys, please stay with me, okay? So normally what we need to do is to connect from the neckline to the underbust. We need to create a cup using a curve ruler like so. And that is what I did initially before I observed on the style inspiration. It doesn't really have a cup like we would have normally, okay? So the next thing to do is just to go ahead and redraft this part, and this is what we need to do to get what we have on the style inspiration. So right here guys, I went ahead to draft a fresh pattern, okay? And we're going to start from where we stopped at, okay? So in order to get that half cut on the underbust, I'm going to extend the neckline, right? Remember that we have used 10 inches for the depth of the neckline initially, right? And now I'm going to add 2 inches to that, making the depth of the neckline 12 inches, all right? And right now, I'll just go ahead and reconnect the neckline like so. And right now, the next thing to do is to come to the underbust line. And right here on the underbust, we're coming down by 1 inch, all right? And we are going to connect the neckline to this 1 inch mark. So right here, I'm using the curvy part of my ruler to connect it together. If you are joining yours, just go ahead and use the straight part to connect it on a sharp slant line, okay? And having done that, I labeled this piece A and B, alright? And now the next thing to do is to come to the neckline and create a dart around the neckline in order to avoid gaping because the neckline is very deep, okay? So what I need to do is just to measure what I have here on this V neckline, and I'm going to find the midpoint, which I indicated here, alright? And from that midpoint, I'll just connect it to the armhole like so, alright? And on both sides of the line, I'm going to take 1/4 of an inch, that is 0.5 on both sides in order to create the dart, okay? And I'll just go ahead and connect the dart leg to the straight line, okay? And in order to eliminate the dart from the neckline, I'm just going to cut through like this, all right? And we are going to be closing this dart, all right? And this dart is not going to touch the armhole at all. It's just going to affect the neckline, all right? We are going to be reducing the neckline by 1/2 inch, all right? I'll just use a masking tape or sellotape to just hold it in place. And up next, we are going to reconnect the neckline so that it's on a straight line. And having done that, the next thing to do is just to go ahead and cut out our front pattern. Before cutting the shoulder line, I'm going to go ahead and add 1/2 inch joining allowance to it. So right here we have our front pattern ready, all right? And before I cut through the A and B, I'm going to use this pattern to cut the back piece also, all right? So right here on this fresh pattern paper, I just indicated the zipper allowance of 1.5 inches, and I'm going to use the front pattern here to draft out the back bodice. And right here, as you can see, that's exactly what I have done here. I've gone ahead to use the front pattern to draft out the back pattern, and for every line we have on the front piece, I have here on the back piece, as you can see, here's the bust point, the underbust point, all right? This is the waistline, and this is the 1 inch marked on the front piece, all right? So right here, you can just go ahead and use the same neckline that you have on the front for the back piece, okay? But for this tutorial, I'm not going to do that. So instead of the 12 inches depth, I'm going to be using 9 inches for the depth of the neckline for the back. And I'm just going to go ahead and extend it towards the zipper allowance like so, all right? And the next thing I'm going to do is just to go ahead and connect this 1 inch that we marked right from the underbust. You know, we came down by 1 inch, all right? I'm going to connect it here, right on the back piece. I'm going to connect it to the neckline like so. So just go ahead and join the 2 points together using this straight part of your ruler. I ended up using the curvy part, all right? I don't know why I keep using this part, okay? But when you're joining yours, please use the straight part. It will make it easy to join both pieces together when you're joining on your fabrics, okay? And having done that, I'll just go ahead and label each part A and B. And I'll go ahead and link these 2 points to create our V-neck. The next thing to do is to come to the waistline here, and I came in by 1/2 inch, all right? And I'm just going to connect on a slant manner like this in order to eliminate zipper bulge, all right? That is why we're doing that, okay? So I'll just do the same thing for the center back. I came in by 1/2 inch, then I'm linking it to the bust point like so, all right? And I'll just shade this part off. We're going to be cutting it out later on, okay? And this right here is our zipper allowance, okay? And the next thing I will do in order to make sure that the back is lying flat and there's no zipper bulge is just to come up here. I'm going to come up by 1 inch. You can do 1.5 inch, and I'm going to connect it to this line. Then I'm going to shade it and we're going to cut it out. And having done that, we have both the front piece and the back piece right here. And right now, the next thing to do is just to go ahead and separate the A and B. And having done that, this is what it looks like, okay? And at the back, I forgot to add that before, all right? So here, I've gone ahead to indicate the darts on the back, okay? So the next thing we need to do is just to cut open the darts, and because we are not going to be taking that on the fabric, so we are going to open the dart and join both pieces together like so. And I'll just go ahead and use a sellotape to hold both pieces together like so, right? And we're going to repeat the same process to the front piece also. And having done that, our pattern is almost ready, okay? So I'll just place the back piece aside and we are going to work on this upper front piece, all right? Because of the pleat that we have there, we're going to slash and spread right now. All right, so what I'm going to do is just to go ahead and connect this dart to the center of the shoulder like so. And right now, I'll just go ahead and slash through this line like so. All right, when I get to the shoulder line, I'll make sure that I do not cut the whole thing. All right, and right now I'll just go ahead and cut out these little dart legs that is here. All right, and the next thing to do is just to go ahead and spread it on your fabrics, or you go ahead and spread on a paper first of all, and that is what I did here. So right here, I'm adding a volume of 4 inches extra, all right, to it. I spread it using 4 inches, then I'll just use my sellotape to hold it in place. So here, I'll just remeasure to make sure that I have 4 inches, then I'll connect together like so, all right? Then I'll just go ahead and cut out the unwanted part. Right here, guys, this is the front piece. This is what the upper part of it is looking like, and as you can see, we've gone ahead to spread it by 4 inches, but the shoulder line remains the same. All right, it's just this lower part that we've added 4 inches to. So the next thing to do is just to go ahead and use this pattern to cut our fabrics. And guys, that's exactly what I've done. And as you can see, this is the back piece. I added 1/2 inch to the neckline and also the down part in order to be able to join it to the lower part. All right, and this is the lower part of the back piece. As you can see, I added 1/2 inch at the top and also 1/2 inch down here. All right, and so here I went ahead to cut both the main piece and also the lining piece. As you can see, we have 4 pieces here, and this is what I did to all of the patterns. And right here, this is the front piece. As you can see, I went ahead to use the pattern paper to cut the front piece, and I also added 1/2 inch to the neckline area, then 1/2 inch down here, all right, in order to join it to the lower part, okay? And right here, this is the lower part of the front piece. I also went ahead to cut both the lining and the main piece. I'm using the same material for both lining and main piece, all right? And to start sewing, the next thing we need to do is just to get the upper part, and we are going to align both the main piece and the lining piece together, right side facing right side, and we are going to stitch the neckline area and also side seam, all right? And we're going to repeat the same process to the back piece also. And so right here, guys, this is what the back piece is looking like. As you can see, the neckline, we've gone ahead to stitch it, and also the side, and I repeated the same process to the front piece, and this is what the front piece is looking like right about now, right? So right now, the next thing to do is just to go ahead and gather this upper front piece. We're going to gather it and stitch it on the band, okay? And in order to make it easier for you, just go ahead and run a gather stitch on these 2 pieces, all right? And I'll go do it now and show you what to do next. So guys, this is it after running a gather stitch on this upper part, all right? And the next thing we need to do is to get our band. We're going to pick 1 piece of it. Remember that we cut 2 pieces, all right? So we're going to pick a piece from it like so, and we are going to align this upper part right side facing right side, okay? We're going to make sure that it aligns properly, like from the center. We are going to, you know, pin it, then we are going to be stitching it, okay? And while joining the upper part to the band, I'm going to make sure that I have about half an inch on this band here, all right, in order to close the side seam of the band, okay? So I'm going to make sure that I leave half an inch right there, okay? And we are going to do the same to the other piece here. Then we are going to stitch it. And right here, guys, that's exactly what I've done. I've gone ahead to stitch both pieces together. And right now, the next thing to do is to take the other band, all right, and we're going to align it like so, okay? We're going to pin it down, then we're going to be stitching across like so. And so right here, this is it after stitching it. And when you turn it to the right side, you would have something like this. And next, we're going to pick up the back piece, all right? And the next thing we are going to do is just to get where our zipper allowance is, all right? And right from where the zipper allowance is, we're going to align the upper part and the lower part together like this. And then I'm going to pick the lining piece, all right, of the band, and we are going to align it on it like this. We are going to be sandwiching the upper parts in between like this. And following the line of my chalk, we are going to go ahead and stitch all around, okay? From the side to the top and to the allowance, the zipper allowance. We're going to be stitching all that. Alright guys, so this is it after stitching it, and I'm just trimming a little bit out of the allowance. And I'll just go ahead and turn it inside out, and this is what the back piece is looking like right now. All right, so you need to go ahead and give it a good press. So the next thing to do is just to align the zipper allowance, or you pin the zipper allowance, okay? Then we are going to go ahead and match the front piece right side facing right side on top of it. Then the first thing I'm going to do is just to go ahead and fix the neckline. All right, I'm going to go ahead and stitch the neckline. We're going to repeat it to the other side also. Then we are going to stitch the seam allowance on the side. And that's exactly what I've done here. I've gone ahead to join the shoulders together, then taking the seam allowance. And this is what the upper part is looking like right now. And for the lower part, I've gone ahead to cut out the materials that I needed for it. So in order to know what to cut for the lower part, what we need to get is the half length, all right? Remember that for our half length, from shoulder to half length, we've already used 17 inches, okay? And the whole gown length for this tutorial is 56 inches, all right? So we're going to deduct that 17 inches from 56, all right? And what is left is going to be 39 inches, meaning that the lower part is going to be 39 inches long. And since this lower part is a multi-tiered gathers, all right, I'm going to be using 15 inches for the top part, and for the lower part I'm going to be using 24 inches for the length, all right? Altogether 15 plus 24 is going to give us 39 inches, all right? So now we have the length of what to cut out. Now we need to know the width of what to cut out. So for the upper part, I'm going to say waist times 2. All right, if you have enough material, you can times it by 2.5 or even 3, but in this case I'll just multiply my waist by 2, and waist in this case is 34 times 2 is going to give us 68. All right, actual waist is actually 33. I added 1 inch to make it 34. All right, so the width of what we are cutting out for this upper part is 68, and to get the lower part we are going to say value times 2. all right, whatever value we have for the upper part, which is 68, we're going to times it by 2, all right, multiply by 2, and whatever value you get is going to be the width of what you are going to cut out. All right, and right here, based on the calculation we just made, I've gone ahead to cut out the 2 steps. All right, so here is the first step, which is 15 inches length and 68 inches width. So right here for length I have 17 because I added 2 inches. All right, we're going to be folding the hem and also joining at the upper part. That's why I added 2 inches to it. And this lower part where we're going to be cutting 24 inches by 136 width, all right, I also added 2 inches to the length. All right, so the next thing to do is just to go ahead and join the upper part to the waistline. We're going to be making a gathers along it, and we're going to be joining it to the waistline. But to make work easy for me, I'm going to go ahead and first of all pleat this lower part on the upper part first. All right, so I'm just going to take it and make gathers all around the upper pleat, the upper part. Okay, then after doing that, I'm going to go ahead and now join the upper part to the waist of our dress. Okay, and right here guys, that's exactly what I've done. I've gone ahead to make gather split all around the waist area, and as you can see on this lower part, I've also gone ahead to join both steps together, as you can see right here. And also I went ahead to add lining to the inside of the dress. This is totally optional. If you want, you can add, and you can just leave it as it is. Okay, and up next I'll just go ahead and stitch the center back, leaving opening for zipper allowance. Then I will hem in the bottom part also. So right here guys, I've gone ahead to join the center back together, and I also went ahead to fixing the zipper. Okay, I also hem in the bottom part here. And in order to cut the sleeve, I have the remaining material folded into 4 right here. Okay, and the wideness on fold is around 15.5 inches. Okay, and right now I'll just go ahead and start drafting the sleeve, and the first thing I'll do is just to go ahead and indicate the start line. And having done that, I'll just go ahead and come down by 4 inches for my cap side. And next I'm going to go ahead and mark the sleeve length, and I'm going to be using 12 inches for the sleeve length, and I'll just indicate with a straight line like so. And having done that, I'm going to be adding extra 3 inches for allowance. And up next I'll come to the cap height here, and I'm going to get half of my armhole, which is 8 inches in this case. And having done that, I'm going to get the midpoint of that 8 inches. Next I'm going to get the midpoint of the start line and the cap height. All right, so I'll just use my tape measure to divide it, and here I got the midpoint. All right, and the next thing to do is just to form an inverted S, making sure that the inverted S touches the midpoint here. Then I'll connect it like so. All right, so I'll just use a free hand to kind of get the curve right here. All right, and having done that, the next thing to do is just to come here and add allowance to this side here. And from this point, I'm just going to connect it to the end of the sleeve like so. And on this corner, I'll just come up by 1 inch and link it inward like so. All right, I'll link it like this, and I'll just go ahead and cut out the sleeve pattern. And right now I'll just go ahead and take the sleeve to the sewing machine and close the side using our seam allowance. Then having done that, I'm going to also fold the end and insert an elastic to it. And having done that, this is what our sleeves looks like. All right, I'm gonna to insert the elastic on the hem. All right, and the next thing to do is just to go ahead and attach the sleeve to the dress. Okay, and that's exactly what I've done. I've gone ahead to attach the sleeve to the dress, and our dress is ready. All right, this is the finished look of the dress. Thank you so much for watching till the end. Please do well to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and smash on the notification bell so that you get to see more of my content, and I'll see you in my next video.